representative of social power, of political power here in this room, okay? And I don't know what side, political side you guys might be on. I don't know, where you stand with respect to Mr. Apfel and his undertaking, but just the fact that you're out here, means that people have to recognize that you care, and you care deeply about what happens on the west end of St. Croix, just as we do. Now, I am legal counsel for the group of people who have decided to stand up before the Board of Land Use Appeals and to stop the distillery on this property.
Just 10 seconds.
Excuse me, and I am not going to be constrained by your clock. Okay, and the Board of Land Use Appeals is going to do what they do. There are four Saint-Tomians and one St. Jonian on the Board of Land Use Appeals, and they're going to do what they do. But they're going to be presented.
There's not an A2 zone in St. John.
Well, that's an interesting point.
A2 zones are in St. Croix. 3 times the amount.
Thank you very much for that. And that was one of the key issues associated with this matter. When this act was originally passed, okay, Act number 8569B, okay, it was passed to remove a couple of words from the definition of an agricultural processing plant. The proponents of that change essentially believed that what that did was it allowed the construction of a distillery on essentially A2 zone property. So in other words, all A2 zone property can now have a distillery, at least according to the way 8569B was originally, or Section 2 was originally passed. Now, I understand and I so appreciate the actions of the senator in saying that he will revisit this legislation and he will try to perfect it so that it is properly delineated what kind of work can be done on what kind of property. But that has nothing to do with Mr. Apfel, because Mr. Apfel now has 2 permits issued by the Department of Planning and Natural Resources, an earth change permit and a building permit to let him do exactly what he wants to do on that property. And you heard the senator say he would ask the developer to hold off until the new legislation is passed that will constrict what he can do. Okay, why would anyone ever do that? Mr. Apfel is potentially looking at a $40 million a year payday here. And ultimately, at least that's his aspiration. The aspiration is to get a $40 million a year payday. And of course, to in turn give us $15 an hour. But I understand. That's just but in the final analysis, before the Board of Land Use Appeals, they are going to be dealing with the issue of whether or not 8569B is appropriate, and whether or not the way that it was done allows Mr. Apfel to do what Mr. Apfel wants to do. Now, as everybody knows here, if you know my 40 years of experience on St. Croix in the law, I am a proponent of economic development on the island of St. Croix. And in fact, I am a proponent of Mr. Apfel's activities, except, William and Punch. Except if, 1, he's distilling on agricultural land, and 2, he commits any not only environmental issues, but also archaeological issues, archaeological problems, if any of that is caused, okay? And I'm not going to get into all the issues associated with that, but I will say that there is some cause for concern. So really, if I was going to ask a question, it would be directed to Mr. Apfel. Mr. Apfel, this gentleman has been one of your greatest proponents in the face of potential problems for him politically. He's been one of your greatest supporters. Will you agree to stop your activities on that property until this senator can perfect that bill? It's a yes or no question. It doesn't require a whole lot of talk. It just requires a yes or no. Will you stop until the new law is passed?
I'm not going to say anything other than this, that we yes, we'll wait. And the crop. Look, sugar cane planted 10 months ago will go bad in 2 months. If you want us to destroy the crop, we will. We would like to. This is what needs to be built. It's just a squeezer, just a juicer to make juice. But if you don't want us to build a juicer, we won't until after. We just want to build a juicer.
The question I asked Mr. Apfel to hold off on building anything until the amendment is passed, until the bill is passed, whether it is voted up or down. So and he was in the process, but when you continuously interrupt it, it's kind of hard to continue to speak. Okay? And he said, I am willing to wait. I am willing to wait. Number 4.